Hi guys, it's Aoife from Fred We See Died Laughing and I'm here with another monthly recommendations video. So this is the 1 year anniversary for monthly recommendations, which I absolutely can't believe. I can't believe it's been a year already. So as always, monthly recommendations is a Goodreads group and it was created by Trina over at Between Chapters and Kayla at Rayne, and I will leave all the links to the group and to their channels below, and I will get straight on into the questions. And the first is an underrated book, and I'm going to go with Not Forgetting the Whale by John Ironmonger. I just absolutely love this book. It was a survival story like nothing I've ever read before. It was so hopeful and it just had just this humanity in it, and it was just a really beautiful read, and it just really kind of stayed in my mind for a really long time after I read it. Number 2 is a book set in school, and I'm going to go with The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. This is set in a school where some people learn this kind of magical art called arithmancy, and it is basically where they can kind of draw shapes on the ground, and there's these chalk monster things that come up and can fight other chalk monster things that are wild and don't have these magicians controlling them, and are kind of eating away at the world. And there's about this kid who really would love to be one of these arithmetists, but he unfortunately can't, but he knows a lot about them, and he kind of gets into this investigation that's going on in the school. And I really enjoy this book. I think I gave it a 4 stars, and it's the first Brandon Sanderson book that I've read, the only one that I've read so far as well, but I really enjoyed it, and it was a really nice kind of school book to read as well. Number 3 is a creepy book, and I'm going to go with Career of Evil by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. This book was just really creepy for me, and I'm not really sure why, because I was okay with the other 2 Cormoran Strike novels, but there was just bits in this one that were just so creepy, and there are points where we kind of got the point of view from the killer, or was he the killer or kind of the stalker or something, and just the things he was saying just creeped me out and just gave me the shivers, and I just felt like something was crawling over my skin, and I just really couldn't deal with it. I actually had to put this down a few times because he was creeping me out so much, which never happens to me, but this book did it for some reason. So yeah, this was definitely one of the creepiest books I've read this year. The next question is a trilogy, and I'm actually going to cheat for this one a little bit because I have a book here, The Crack and Everything by Ruth Frances Long, but I've actually only read the first book, but I have the second book that I'm going to read very soon, and the publisher is actually going to send me the third book as well because I'm going to do a series review on it. But this is basically kind of a fae supernatural story set in Dublin, Ireland, and it is about this girl who finds this graffitied image of an angel, and she ends up getting pulled into this fae world. There's kind of these side streets in Dublin that are owned by the fae and where the fae walk, and it turns out that the graffitied image of the angel was kind of actually the last image of the angel before it died, and she ends up having this angel spark within her, which means all the fae are trying to run after her to try and kill her to get this angel spark because it's really powerful. And whatever thing she kind of touched the image, which means it was kind of transferred to her, and it turns out that her family kind of actually has roots within this fae world as well, and she's trying to figure that out. And it was really interesting. I really loved it. I thought it was really great in terms of Irish culture and mythology and stuff like that as well, and Irish words and stuff like that. The author is Irish, so she really got kind of that side of Dublin down really well as a normal Irish person and not a tourist, and I really enjoyed that as well. And I just think this was a really strong book, really strong writing, and I can't wait to get to the rest of the series, but I have really high hopes for the rest of the series, so I would really urge people to try this trilogy out. The next section is a book you think everyone should read by the end of the year, and I'm going to go for In the Hope of Memories by Olivia Rivers. This is a YA contemporary book about a girl who dies, and she has all these different friends who don't really know each other, but she ends up setting up a treasure hunt for them right before she dies. So after she dies, she sets them on it, and they all kind of meet and find out about each other and find out how they know this girl called Hope. And it is just really gorgeous. It's really great. It had me crying by the end of the book. It has so many different it has like disability in it, it has colour, people of colour, people with disabilities, people with different sexualities, and it just talks about so many different things, and it was just so great. I just loved it. It was really good, and everyone needs to read this book because it's absolutely fantastic. A fantasy book I'm going to recommend is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. I read this a little while ago and I actually really enjoyed it. This is kind of about a girl who is living in a world where the ruling class of people kind of have control of these gods, and she ends up going and becoming the heir, the potential heir to the throne. She's 2 other people who are kind of up against her, cousins up against her for the for this throne, and she kind of ends up in this kind of game of life and death, and she ends up kind of bonding with these gods who are enslaved by the ruling family, and she kind of tries to figure out a way that she can help them and they can help her and stuff like that, and I actually quite enjoyed it. It ended up being really, really good. A book with little to no romance is going to be On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Davis. This is about a girl who is basically trying to survive the end of the world. There is a meteor coming to Earth, and she and her mother end up missing their chance to go to a shelter, and they end up by accident on this ship that hasn't left Earth yet. So she's kind of trying to survive, trying to figure out a way her and her mother can get a permanent place on this ship, and trying to find her sister too, because she doesn't know where her sister is. And again, this book is great. The main character is autistic, and I really loved reading from that point of view. It was kind of own voices as well, because I do believe that the author of this book is autistic. I heard that. I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct, but I'm pretty sure I heard someone else say that the author of this book is autistic. Her sister is actually transgender as well, so that was really great to read too, and there wasn't much of a fuss made out of it or anything. It was just, you know, you just kind of gradually learn it, and I really enjoyed that. And yeah, there was very little romance in this book, pretty much none, and I really enjoyed that because it kind of let the actual surviving be the main point of the story instead of the romance. A standalone I'm going to recommend is The Muse by Jessie Burton. I read this a little while ago and I really, really enjoyed it, and again it has a beautiful cover as well. Why wouldn't you want to read a book with that beautiful cover? This is set in two different points of view. There is a black girl from Trinidad living in London in the 1970s, I think it is, and she's trying to be a writer, but she gets a job in an art gallery. And then there is another point of view set in the 1940s in Spain, just before World War II, and it is about a girl who is trying to be an artist, but her family don't know that she's an artist, and she ends up falling in love and having a muse that is this boy who also wants to be an artist. And it kind of goes from there, and their stories all intertwine, and you figure out how their stories intertwine. And this was just a really great book. I really loved it. It had that magical element that Jessie Burton always seems to bring to her books. Nothing actual, there's no magical realism in it, but there's just a magic in her words, the way she puts it together, the way the stories come together, and I really, really enjoyed it. Your favourite survival story, I am going to go with, I was going to go for Not Forgetting the Whale, but I've already mentioned that, so I think I'm going to go with The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is set in World War II in France, and it's about two sisters who are both kind of doing different things during the war and trying to survive, and it is very much a survivor story, just a different kind of survivor story. It isn't a post-apocalyptic one, but it is a very real one that a lot of people actually had to go through, and just these women's strength and determination to fight the odds and come out the other side is really, really inspiring. And the writing is beautiful, the story is gripping and thrilling, and you just want to figure out how it happened to them and how they survived, and I loved it. It was really good. My favourite book, Friendship, was probably The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I thought the girls' group of friends in this was absolutely excellent. I thought it was very realistic friendship. There's some ups and downs that happen, particularly near the end, that some things aren't quite resolved as picture perfect as you would see in a lot of other novels, but I thought that was really realistic, and I felt that was quite an important thing to put in the book, that sometimes these things don't always work out, but that's okay. Like sometimes you aren't friends with people for the rest of your life, or sometimes you do go separate ways but still keep in touch, that kind of thing, and I just really enjoyed that because it's so realistic, because it has happened to me so many times. And yeah, so I definitely love this group. They were there for each other, but they also understood when each other needed space as well. The next one is a book set outside of the US, or that features travel/vacation, and I'm going to go with Burial Rites. I really enjoyed this book. It was written by Hannah Kent, and this is set in Iceland, and it is about the last woman/person who was executed for murder in Iceland, and it's about her story. And this is excellent. The descriptions of the Icelandic setting in it just makes you want to go to Iceland. I've always wanted to go to Iceland, but after reading this book I was like, I need to go now. It was just beautiful, beautifully written, the story was beautifully written, yeah, it was excellent. And the last topic is a book with your favourite empowering female character, and I'm going to go with Lada. I just really love this book. I love the character. I think I did talk about it before in the actual topic for this one, which was last month I think, but yeah, I just love her. I just really thought she was great. She was just so kick-ass. She didn't let any men tell her what to do, and yeah, she's excellent. So that is it for this month's monthly recommendations. Please leave me comments down below on all the books I've mentioned. Please tell me what books you would choose for the topics, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again next time.